Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Harvey Briscombe, and today I'm going to be explaining a new type of tectonic boundary. Now, the backstory on this is in science, we were instructed to make a poster or a model of a type of tectonic boundary. Now, the tectonic boundaries that currently exist are transformative, convergent, and divergent. Now, it's pretty simple. Transformative, slide against each other like that. Divergent moves apart, and convergent moves together. Now, they all have different side effects on the land. Namely, convergent can usually make mountains. Divergent usually make volcanoes, valleys, rifts, other stuff you'd expect. And transformative usually create volcanoes. Now, that's what we were supposed to do. What I actually did was I found the smallest plate, the Wonderfucker plate. That's a legitimate place. I'll put it up here. It is the smallest plate, and just a disclaimer, all the things you see in this model would not happen in real life, as it's adjacent to the Atlantic plate and the North American plate, which are both adjacent to each other. I don't know this for sure, but I think it was a little lip on the North American plate, and then through a transformative plate boundary, the Atlantic plate would have sheared it off and created its own smaller plate. So, through the magic of maths, I figured out the weight of the plate, the half buoyancy force, the full buoyancy force, and with all those values, I figured out how much this large robot-ish thing, I'm not sure what that was supposed to be, giant Sputnik maybe, how heavy a weight would be required to sink the plate. Now, this is a teenager with pretty shoddy maths doing this, so if you're trying to create a doomsday device, I suggest checking my maths. I'll leave a link to it in the description, maybe. I'll probably just write it in the description. But that's irrelevant. As we place a significant weight, this hammer is going to be representing giant Sputnik. As we place this weight on the tectonic plate and release it, now a lot just happened. So first, the tectonic plate sank into the mantle. Now this would create an enormous amount of pressure, which would likely make other volcanoes in the surrounding area, possibly all over the globe, erupt violently. It would make any volcanoes on that plate erupt extremely violently, and it would generally be terrible for everyone. But, as you saw, the adjacent tectonic plates crashed together. Now, this would create enormous earthquakes and tsunamis and all that jazz all over the globe. There'd be tsunamis crushing against any landmass that, with, I guess you'd say, line of sight. Most of the continental US would be destroyed. Large explosions everywhere, enormous earthquakes because the entire freaking huge plate just slammed into it. Once again, disclaimer, would not happen because of the nature of the plates, but this is a hypothetical situation. Now, this relevant to my school project, I believe this not only counts because it's a type of tectonic boundary, I think it counts because it is all the tectonic boundaries. It is a transform boundary because since the plate is moving down, it would grind against the other plates. You can't really see it because I'm using wooden blocks. It is a divergent boundary because it's going down, and it is a convergent boundary because all these plates are converging. I should probably stop breaking the piece of paper because I'm going to need that later. Now, I first got the idea for this from a video I saw with some really big robot, I can't remember what, but I thought how big was that, and that eventually got me onto the topic of how big would a robot have to be to sink a tectonic plate, which is why I did all this maths. Afterwards, I then did the maths of how tall it would be, because I was bored, and with the weight to height dimensions of the Boston Robotics Atlas robot, which is this one, it would be 94,000 kilometers high. To put that in perspective, the edge of space is officially 100 kilometers up. If you had 3 of these stacked on top of each other, it would be freaking tall enough to grab the moon. The moon is very far away.